This is Luke Paulson, the Catholic Conservative, and welcome to the news of the week for July 23rd, 2021. And if you enjoy these videos, do not forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more. This one really hits home for me. An Irish couple was advised to abort their child because of a fetal anomaly. They killed their own child, only to find out that it was a false positive. This case was back in 2019, but it has no doubt become more common since then. As someone with autism, I am so thankful that my mother never got any of those tests done. She has always been a good Catholic woman who opposes abortion at every turn. If she was not, what could have happened to me? There is no doubt in my mind that this is happening all over the world every day. Right here in America, your tax dollars are being used to fund this abhorrent practice. Yet, somehow, our bishops are partisan for trying to protect children. Rudy Giuliani supposedly made false statements about election fraud, despite countless affidavits, major inconsistencies, and in the middle of a recount. Yet, no suspensions of any lawyer for the Russia collusion hoax, or for those who got BLM rioters back on the streets to burn down more buildings. Giuliani is being targeted because he dared to support President Trump. There is also Casey Cusick, who was arrested in front of his 3-year-old daughter, and his 73-year-old father was arrested as well. His crime, he peacefully entered the Capitol building. This after security waved them in, and the press was waiting for a photo op. The deep state is targeting anyone even remotely associated with President Trump. Why? Because they are trying to ensure that no one ever attempts to stand in their way again. If it were not for President Trump, we would never have learned how truly deep the swamp is. This is a picture of Deanna Price and Brooke Anderson, who came in first and second in the hammer throw event. The other competitor, who should remain unnamed, came in third and turned away from the flag. Why? Because it is a symbol of how she is oppressed, despite reaching one of the highest places of honor in our culture. Although I think it might have something to do with how miserably she lost. The athlete has even gone on record that she hates America, yet does not just leave to go to any other country in the world. America is the least racist country that this world has ever seen. Sports are a pure meritocracy, and liberals hate the fact that the most qualified person wins, rather than who has the most intersectionality. This unnamed athlete is almost as embarrassing as the man that is competing in the women's weightlifting competition. Why are there no women trying to compete with biological men? Asking for a friend. I posted this comment on Twitter, where you should be following me, by the way. In reply, I was sent an article about 751 unmarked graves outside of a former residential school in Canada. Naturally, the commenter replied that this is the reason why we need critical race theory, because of these atrocities. Now, I am not going to deny that there are atrocities that have been committed over the centuries, but I have never owned a slave or ever lived on a farm. What if I told you that it was possible to criticize the actions of those who came before us without demonizing the present generation? The number of minorities that have come out against CRT are staggering. The most powerful, of course, is an escapee from communist China that compares it to Mao's Cultural Revolution. Not to mention an escapee from North Korea that compared it to their propaganda. This is truly an atrocity, but we should not be comparing apples to oranges. The NFPA reports that more than 30 people died, 8,500 structures were lost, and 4 million acres of land were burned in the 2020 wildfires of California. Back then, our president made this handy suggestion.
When trees fall down, after a short period of time, about 18 months, they become very dry. They become really like a matchstick. And they get up, there's no more water pouring through, and they become very, they just explode.
That seems like a very logical point that is based on the scientific method and empirical data. However, he was mocked over and over again because the blame had to be placed on global warming. Naturally, the dead foliage just kept fueling the fires until we got the aforementioned statistics. Now California is following President Trump's advice, and things are already looking better. Now our president will never get an apology, but I say the apology should go to all of the people who are killed and those whose property was destroyed over a political decision. A decision that was made just to make President Trump look bad. It is a rare delicacy in this day and age to see liberals protest something and it did not lead to burning buildings down. By the way, how is burning down buildings going to stop global warming? Asking for a friend. Either way, 60 to 70 people protested outside Senator Cruz's home, and after an hour of negotiating with these people, 8 were arrested. They wanted Cruz to endorse AOC's new version of the Green New Deal, her Civilian Climate Corps. Of course, she will continue to live like royalty, while she insists that the rest of us live as if we were in a third world country. AOC, as well as her colleagues, will get to fly on private jets. But it is not as if they will ask us to turn our ACs to 78 degrees during the hottest part of the day. Oh wait! What's this? These people could just live like hippies out in the woods, but then they would be unemployed and get lots of welfare. Not that they care. Bill Cosby is free. People are accused of sexual assault every day, and I do not know anything about the specifics of this case. However, that is not something that I want to go into. I do know that Bill Cosby showed a positive view of the African American community and how anyone can succeed. Liberals believe that anytime a conservative member of this community comes up, he is just a rarity and is not to be listened to, even if he rejects CRT. However, if the person is also a liberal, any disagreement is called racist. Something does not pass the sniff test in my opinion. Steve Scalise, among other Republicans, held an unofficial hearing on the origins of the China virus. Fauci, as well as the director of the CDC, refused to appear. It is almost as if they do not want to be able to go on record if their handlers cannot control the conversation. Every individual who did come said that it came from the lab.
We also know the first cases of COVID in China occurred sometime between mid-October to mid-November of 2019. This is when we now know that, according to the Wall Street Journal, 3 Wuhan Lab workers sought hospital care for an unknown respiratory illness.
We also know that American officials were in contact with the lab.
Months after, emails have now surfaced that show communications between top scientists that this may in fact have started in the Wuhan Lab.
Senator Paul has gotten multiple death threats for questioning Fauci, and I do not doubt that these witnesses are going to get death threats as well. The IRS targeted Republicans and Christians under Obama. That is a fact. Now Biden is continuing that legacy. The group Christians Engaged had their tax-exempt status revoked because their platform was too similar to the Republican Party platform. Maybe if the organization wanted to kill children left and right and hand out money to people who did not work, there would be no objection. I do not know anything about this group, but if the past is any indicator, this has everything to do with keeping right-leaning or Christian groups from having equal footing with any Democrat organization. One of the surest signs of guilt is blaming other people for what you do. Case in point, the Democrats are now accusing the Republicans of wanting to defund the police. We cannot let the Democrats get away with such a blatant lie. This is exactly how they started the lie of the platform switch and claimed that it was Republicans that kept slavery going and Democrats that wanted to stop it. Even though there is no historical evidence to suggest this perversion of history, Democrats still believe it. That is why these memes are so accurate. It would be hilarious if it were not so sad. Democrats keep talking about the big lie, which apparently has nothing to do with the Russia collusion hoax. Now, the mayoral race for New York City is marred by election incompetence. This is all without having two parties competing. This proves that the election system is biased and corrupt. This is exactly what leads to people questioning the results of the election and demanding audits. Maybe I'm just blowing smoke. Maybe I'm completely off my rocker, but that is just my opinion. And if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And also please consider following me on social media.